Well, good evening and welcome along to NUFC Matters with me, Steve Wraith, and me brother. At last, technology. We've managed to pull it off. We've got Joe Allon live on the show. How are you, Joe?
I'm good. I've just learned how to text. I'm getting into the century better.
Dear me, how technology and some people, honestly, but you're a classic with it. But we got there. It was pretty faultless today. I've got to be said, mate. But it's great to have you on because been doing these over lockdown, mate. And I've got to be honest, about 3 months of this, and people needed your sense of humour and your laughs and what you can bring. And I know when we had you on briefly, with your tribute to your former boss, Jack Charlton, it wasn't quite the time for funny, but we had a load of feedback, a load of positive feedback about, your tribute. People loved it. And, just your, the fact that you could take Jack off so well, your impersonations. We had your good mate, Danny Posthill on the other day, who's great with those kind of things, impressions and that. But you got Jack down to a teammate.
Well, Steve, he put me on the road to my career. And he wasn't just my manager, he was my mate. And
oh, he's gone. Technology's done him in straight away. Where is he?
What do you do when you get interruptions of people on the phone?
Oh yeah, you've just got to knock them off, mate. You should put your phone on airplane mode. That's what you should have done, mate. I never thought of that. But never mind, look, crack on. And if you get another interruption, I'll keep talking because I'm good at that. And but carry on, mate. Yeah, you started off at Newcastle with Jack and he gave you your start. So tell us how you came to Newcastle. How did you come to Newcastle? How did you become a Newcastle player? Oh, he's on the case, putting it onto airplane mode. He's off again. Well, what I'll do is we'll have a look through your questions whilst we're waiting for Joe to come back. Obviously, technical issues. When you're doing it on your mobile phone, it's never great. Laptop is always recommended. Yeah, we'll come to this one. Cooperman says, why have you not had Michael Shopper on a few weeks? Is it because of what he's been tweeting the last week or so? Yeah, I've got to be honest. He was supposed to be on last week. And obviously, from our perspective, getting guests on is very important. It's great to have different people on each week. Michael's been great over the last 3 months. He's been on the show, as you know, on a regular basis, from different parts of the world. He obviously bases himself in Malaysia, but he flies around with the job that he does. So from our perspective, Michael's been very, very kind and come on a regular basis. Over the last couple of weeks, obviously, with the takeover, dragging on, he's been busy. And what has he been busy doing is the $1 million question. Has he been busy, going out and trying to find another prospective buyer? Has he been working with the Saudis? The honest answer is I don't know. I hope to God that there is something going on in the background and he is trying to do something, but he's clearly not shared that information with me. So if he does, I will of course try and get him back on the show. Be great to have him on and get him back involved. But as for now, we are struggling. I've got to be perfectly honest. Any other questions? Let's see where we are. Evening, Steve from Mr. and Mrs. Iceman. Yeah, how are you doing? Hope you're okay. Christopher, no more shopper talk, please. Happy at Toon Barmy. He says, what is the perfect song in the push against the Premier League? In my view, nothing motivates like Guns N' Roses. Welcome to the jungle while sending emails, letters and tweets. So that's an interesting question. I've got to be honest. I've never been asked that at all. Yeah, I mean, for me, I prefer to work without any music on. I concentrate better. But anybody else has got any suggestions, chuck them in. Charles says, Steve, any news? The answer at the moment is no. I personally feel that the consortium have played a blinder here. I feel that they've walked away from the table And now, as we've seen, the pressure is completely on the Premier League and Richard Masters. And I think ultimately that is what they wanted. They wanted the supporters to come out and push and push and push. The petition was one thing. I thought that was a superb effort. I think on the other side of things, the letters to MPs, which of course the supporters trust encouraged, was superb. So from our perspective, it's worked great. I think that now that it's in the hands of the the politicians and the lawyers, we're in a really good place. We've got a situation which is bubbling away behind the scenes. We don't know exactly what's going to happen. We hope that there's going to be something change over the next couple of days. But how long's a piece of string? Interesting times that we're living in. I still have faith in the consortium getting it done. Let's hope that it does. Christopher says half of the questions are, what do you think of what Chopra tweeted? Yeah, I mean, I just, if I was to give them advice, I would say don't wind Newcastle supporters up. Certainly don't put things out there which are teasing them, certainly under the current atmosphere. I don't think it does anybody any good. And I think from our perspective, we just want clarity. We want an answer. If it's yes, the takeover can go ahead because we've found some middle ground. I think that would be fantastic. We'll all celebrate. We'll all get the cans out. And I think if it goes the other way, then we're going to be disappointed. And that's the way it goes. So, got Joe back anyway. Welcome back, Joe. Now, where's your audio, Joe? We can't hear you. We can't hear you. We can't hear you. Joseph. Unbelievable. I jinxed it by saying he had the technology right. He's even got my name on his display. We can't hear you, Joe. We can't hear you, mate. Can't hear you. I'm going to have to text him, ladies and gentlemen, whilst I continue down the list of questions. But cannot hear Joe at all. I will text him and see what we can do. This is the problem when you do stuff live, sadly. Just caught up with a TalkSport interview you did the other day. Thought you were great. Simon came across as fair, but the stand-in presenter was a bit of it. Yeah, Joe, I've got to be honest. He wasn't great, was he? There's Joe back again. Joe, we've got no joy with the mic. You've done something with your volume, I'm afraid, mate. We can't hear you at all. So until you can come back with some volume, I'm afraid it's no good at all. He's on and off here. This is like a comedy show, isn't it? Joe? No, I'm afraid like we're gonna have to try again with Joe a little bit later. As I say, keep your questions coming in. I'm quite happy to broadcast until Joe sorts his issues out. Life goals. Steve, does it make you chuckle that Immobile has said the Saudis were chatting to his agent and now Newcastle are being linked with Jeff Hendrick and Troy Deeney? It does, mate. Yeah, I mean, dear me, how Jeff Hendricks, I mean, anybody's better than nobody, but we are shopping in Poundland. We're not shopping in Harrods, and that's a big disappointment when you think that we were hoping for a massive takeover, Joe's back again. Can we hear you, Joe? No. Can't hear you, Joe. Volume's gone, mate. Volume's gone. Unfortunate, but we cannot see Joe on here. It's not looking good at all. Don't think we're going to get him on, unfortunately. We'll have to try and get him on again. It's a pity because his sound was fine, but as soon as you got that phone call, it's absolutely knackered the whole process. So not sure why. I will drop him a text and see what he says. There we go. All right, next question. Yes, Jason. All right, okay, it's not a question. Les Lumsden, have you tried to get KK on, Steve? Yeah, look, I mean, I've messaged quite a few people. Messaged Kevin Keegan, messaged Peter Beardsley, two names who, I would love to get on the show, but, I didn't get a reply from Kevin. It's not really his thing, this kind of thing. Maybe in the future we might be able to get him on. As for Peter Beardsley, declined the offer. Obviously he hasn't done a great deal of interviews since his FA case. So I can understand that. It's still a bit difficult, I think, for Peter. But I'd love to have him on. Peter's a legend. He's my favourite player, and it'd be absolutely fantastic to get Peter Beardsley on the show. So I will keep trying. I will keep asking the question. I did get a text off Peter actually yesterday after the Talk Sport interview saying that he'd heard it and well done. So communication is there. Just be great to have him on, Ronnie Milne, Steve, where's Steve Wraith? It's the two Steves. Yeah, I did notice Joe put the wrong name on as well. He's busy texting us back as we speak. Joe Walker, it's the hope that kills us. Is this really still on the table? Joe Walker, the answer for me is yes, it is still on the table. Yes, they've walked away. I think that was the question everybody kept asking the other day on Twitter. Is the takeover still on the table? I believe that they still want to get the, they still want to get on. But as far as we're concerned, it would be ideal, to think that the deal was, still, going to go through. So from our perspective, this is where we're at. We've got to wait. It's a waiting game. Do I think it's going to drag on, another few weeks? No, I think it'll be sorted sooner rather than later. I think it's a massive positive that Mike Ashley's come out and said, that he, his lawyers are going to look into this and, put the pressure on. I think the government are putting the pressure on as well. So I can only see that being a good thing. Joe Allon sends us a message now saying the browser's blocked him. So, I don't think we're going to have Joe tonight. We're going to have to try and get him on another occasion. Are the Premier League seriously just hiding and hopefully things will blow over? That is pathetic. Yeah. Richard Masters has disappeared and, Richard Keys reappeared today. Basically denying that he deleted any texts. But, from our perspective, it is disappointing. And, Richard Masters, is he on holiday? Did he take a break after presenting Liverpool with a trophy? Who really knows? Nobody knows, where he is and why he's not saying anything. There's a lot of trains of thought. People saying that, potentially the reason he's not saying anything is because, they've pulled out of the deal now and he doesn't have to come out and say anything. But my view, as I said before, is I think the pressure will be on him. It'll be intense on the Premier League in general. You're witnessing on social media, on Twitter in particular, the sponsors of the Premier League being, politely attacked by Newcastle fans every time they put a post out. People are spamming their accounts. So, from our perspective, there's a lot going on from the fan base's point of view. But again, that can only go on for so long. And I've already seen a few people question it. Well, we need something from the potential owners or from the buyers. We need something to come out. But my understanding is that for starters, the only people who can speak with Mike Ashley is Mike Ashley can only speak with the Premier League, and Amanda Staveley and co can't really say a great deal. They've come out, they've said what they had to say, done their interview with George. They released a rallying call, if you like, via the Supporters Trust at the town hall meetings. So look, I think the prospective buyers have said all they've got to say. The Rubens have come out and said they're still very interested in buying the football club and investing in the area. I don't think you can say any more. They certainly don't want to come out and tell everybody what the tactics are. That would just be absolutely ludicrous, Local hero suggesting a song, Premier League song, Stand and Deliver. Good one, mate. Dave Harrison, hi Steve, would you play poker with the Saudis? I can't play poker. I've never played cards. I was always a bad loser as a kid. So the answer to that, Dave, definitely is no. I wouldn't. A lot of people asking, with we're not getting Joe back tonight, I don't think he's going to be able to make it on. I don't mind talking about the Talk Sport interview. People were asking us yesterday, about it. Some people hadn't heard it. I know a lot more people have heard it today. People are saying that they didn't give you an opportunity to speak. They had their own agenda. I mean, that's the way it works with media. A lot of people look at the interviews I've done over the years. A lot of people say, this is where probably a lot of the dislike comes from for me. People say, who's Steve Wraith? He shouldn't be speaking for us. I've never spoken for the fans. I've never claimed to speak for the fans. Then other people have said, he just does this to make money. Well, I don't get paid for any of these interviews I do. He just does it to raise his public profile or to get himself publicity. Yeah. That is definitely true. That's why you do these things, because I have a brand, I have a company. I personally go out and do events with ex-Newcastle players. My company is Newcastle Legends. So to have my name and face known is valuable in those terms. So yeah, I'm going to admit that that's one of the reasons that I would certainly put my head above the parapet. But The other reason is that, you know, I've always been available, no matter what job I've done over the last 27, 28 years that I've talked about Newcastle United. I've always been my own boss, and I've always been available for the media. And I think the fact that I've always been able to at least, you know, talk, you know, and give an answer and have knowledge on the situation is the only reason I've been asked. But I haven't been the only person asked over the years. You know, many fans have been given the opportunity to speak on television. Some, you know, continually do. And there's new faces on the block now. There's other TV, you know, other internet TV shows, you know, whether it's Gallagher's Shots or Newcastle Fans TV or whatever, Magpie, you know, the Magpie channel, whatever it is. All of these guys, I've seen them, you know, doing interviews on, you know, on different channels, Sky, etc. So it does work. You know what I mean? It's great to have those people on. Bear with us. Joe's back. Hopefully we can get him on. Joe, can you hear us? Nah. Joe, it's an absolute nightmare, mate. We can see it. The picture is crystal clear. There must be a volume or something like that. We just can't hear you. The picture's crystal clear. And while I'm on air, I'm gonna text him again. See, I'm going to put it on the text. See you loud and clear. See you loud and clear. Can it hear you? Can it hear you? We'll see. There we go. It's sent. Can it? Oh, now he's messing with the volume button and it's still not working. Dear me, how doesn't happen on Sky, boys and girls. Really sad, unfortunate, but you know, this would have been a cracking hour as well with Joe. No joy at all. He keeps coming in like a peaky blinder. I bet it's something as simple like he's turned his volume off or something like that. Can it? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. We're gonna have to give it a miss. It's unfortunate. Where was I? Yeah. So obviously getting back to TV and you know, interviews and radio and stuff like that. Other people have been available. Great to have them on, and I think that's the way forward. More diversity. At times I've took a step back. I haven't given interviews, etc. But it's nice to get, you know, it's nice to you know, over the last 48 hours, it's been nice to say that people have, you know, agreed with what I've said and, you know, happy with the way that I've conducted myself. But I only ever speak for myself. I can't speak for the supporters. So people need to remember that as well, you know. Jason Carter, Stephen, maybe you doing a show alone might be good now. And again, question and answer and tell him some stories. All right, Jason. Well, as I say, I'm happy to do it. I don't think we're going to get Joe back tonight. Anyone's got any questions, feel free. Premier League Twitter account hiding posts from fans now to do with a petition. Running scared. It's absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Stephen Brentforth, how's it going? Yep, good, mate. Not bad. Give Joe one more try. Have you got your volume sorted, Joe? No. Cannot hear you, Joe. Cannot hear you. Absolute nightmare. Premier League's dirty and corrupt. Yeah, we've seen a few of them on Twitter. Hi, Steve. Will Mike Ashley still be in charge at the start of the season? If so, will he actually spend a penny? I've heard on other podcasts that potentially that he could be, you know, yeah, obviously could be in charge, but we might only have 35 million to spend. Joe, any joy? No, no volume. He's yeah, we potentially only got 35 million pound to spend, and that's going to be an absolute nightmare. Absolute nightmare if that's our budget. You know, when you think about some of the players that we've been linked with, you know, we're going to literally be, you know, shopping in the bargain basement, like I said before, not in Harrods. Mitch has got an opinion on Simon Jordan. To be honest, the two dealings I've had with Simon Jordan in the last couple of weeks, I think has been okay. I wouldn't say that it's been banned, you know, a bad experience from my point of view, but he completely, you know, he was completely on side with the presenter yesterday. They did appear to have an agenda, but I haven't got any issues with Simon Jordan. Hopefully, you know, get the opportunity to go back on when Jim White's on. I thought Jim was a lot easier to deal with and gave us more of a chance to express myself and get our points across. But you've also got to remember when you do these things, you're literally only on for like 2.5, 3 minutes, guys. And that's the most difficult thing. And you're working usually with two other people. I'm on a phone, they're in a studio. They've got the advantage. They're working together. They're working towards a narrative, and I'm going on trying to say what we want to say. So it is really difficult, you know. And you get better with experience, because I remember looking back on a lot of my old interviews. I'm very critical of myself about different things that I'd said and whatever. But I learned as well about the edit. If it's a pre-recorded interview, be very careful what you say, because they can make you look an absolute fool, and you can look as if you've said something that you clearly didn't say, or make you look as if you're implying something which, of course, you haven't. So, a bit of advice if you ever do anything like that. Mike Stewart says Premier League trying to hide replies to their tweets. Definitely a bit rattled. Paul Oxley says, has Chopra been getting advice from Bernard? Yeah, I mean, Oliver Bernard as well. He's put out a couple of tweets which I know have got people excited. And again, it's not advisable. It's not advisable, really. A lot of people just sending messages in of support of different things that I'm doing. Thank you very much. Jeff says, any more photos in the sunshine, Bonnie lad? I've never took any for a while. I've got, to be perfectly honest, I got a lot of I got a lot of positive comments about the Tyne Bridge shots, and I thoroughly enjoy going out for my walk. But yeah, I will start putting a few more up, Jeff. I just think sometimes people get a bit sick. Steve, you really are true, Geordie, most of all an honest human being. Your interview on TalkSports really made me admire you a lot. I hope I can meet you someday in person all the way from India. Thank you very much, mate. Yeah, listen, if you're ever in Newcastle, please give us a shout. Jason says, apparently Sky Sports have briefed their staff to say nothing. The Premier League have instructed them, apparently it's all cloak and dagger. I felt really sorry for Pete Graves. I felt as if he got hung out to dry in the media a little bit, and that was a bit naughty. Christopher's just pointing out that gambling is illegal in Saudi. That's with reference to Dave Harrison saying, would you play poker with the Saudis, I think. Barry Hogan says, it's saying we're going to get a windfall after sell-on of Ivan Toney, 1 million in the kitty. Yeah, a little bit of sarcasm in there. Michelle Mann says, making your mind up for the takeover. That's absolutely fantastic. Lifego says, how do you keep your beard so lustrous? Mine looks awful. To be honest, it's the only hair that I can grow on my head. So, with the lockdown, I did grow a beard before lockdown. And from my perspective, it wasn't planned. It was just, I just thought I'd grow it. And then I went away on holiday prior to lockdown, and the beard's come back after lockdown. I just haven't shaved it off, and yeah, I've grown quite accustomed to it. One more try. Here he is again, Joe Allen. He's sorted the volume out? I can hear rustling. Is it a packet of crisps? No, it's Joe Allen. He's back. Happy days, Joe. I've never talked as much. I've given everybody me bank account details, me will, everything.
By the way, you've never talked as much. You're giving Aspen a head.
Absolute classic, right?
Honestly, there's been about 50 calls to the phone, and I think the phones went overload, and then it just went kaput. Anyway, we're back.
Fantastic.
We've had
a laugh. People said I should do the show on my own more often. It's a classic. Right. So, if you can, if you can keep your trouser leg rolled up and keep your hand in the air so you don't lose this signal, tell us how you arrived at Newcastle United, Joe. How did you become a Newcastle player?
Well, I can't remember how much you heard of where the gaffer, so I don't want to repeat myself. But when I come to Newcastle, we were 9-year-old, and we were training, and we were together for a long, long time. Went through all the systems as regarding the youth team and the reserves, and into the first team. Unfortunately, I mean, bollocks to them, by the way, at Manchester United, the class of '92. Who do them think they are? The Beckhams and the Scholes. We had Gaza, and we were just two players that were in an excellent team, and that's what we were from being like 9-year-old. We're an excellent, excellent team that loved each other and played for each other, and we won the FA Youth Cup in 1985. So tell them from Manchester, bollocks, because we did it first.
Yes, 100%. So the War Jackie, Christopher said, Joe, a little Jackie Charlton tribute for those who didn't hear it. The people very interested to hear about your life and times with Jackie.
Right. So the gaffer was he was instrumental in putting us on the road to my football career, and he just wasn't just me gaffer. He was my mate. But when I went in for my first contract, I mean, he gave me the number 9 shirt, and I scored in it, and he gave us my first professional contract, and I played for England under 21s, and he was just an absolute he was my mate as well as my manager. And I couldn't get, well, you couldn't get any better grounding, if I could say that. And I went in for my first professional contract, and I was on 25 quid a week. And he went, right, it's like this. I'll give you 150 quid a week. I thought, I've just won the pools. He'll give you £100 a game and £100 a goal. But in the summer, I'm going to give you £60. I want you I want you to learn a trade, whether it's bricklaying or painting, decorating, or plumbing. So you've got something to fall back on. I think you'll make the grade. I think you'll be okay. But that's what I want you to do. And I went, oh, champion gaffer, brilliant. I went out, Gaza went in, this little porky lad, I don't know if you've heard of him. He went in, I went there. He comes out, I went there. 150, he went, aye. I says 100, he went, aye. I says 100, he went, aye. I says in the summer 60, he went, no, 80. I went, you what? I braid the door down. I've just got a World Cup winner in front of us who's 60, he's 6'7", smoking a tab, having a cup of tea. And he went, what do you want? I went, hold on a minute, gaffer. I said, 150, 100, 100. And you're giving him 80 in the summer. He's a better player than you in the summer. I says, he's not. Not in the summer, he's not. He gives us the extra 24. Brilliant.
Classic,
honestly.
man. Tell us about the debut. What was it like to put
But he
the
was
number
me-
9 shirt on?
I was sitting in the house, Stephen. It was a case of you watch them Saturday morning programs, the Chris Tarrant and the Noel Edmonds things and whatever. And we didn't have a phone. I'm not going to tell you any lies. We're from a council estate and we didn't have a phone. And funny enough, it's ironic, but the next door neighbour was called Mrs. Robson. And she said, there's a telephone call for you, Joe. So I jumped over the fence and I had my shorts on and I went, hello, in my posh voice. And he went, how are you doing? I went, I'm great, gaffer. Is that you? He went, yeah. Do you fancy a game today? I says, yeah, I'm playing against Sunderland in the under-21s at Benwell. He went, no, you're not. You're playing for me in the big team. But don't tell anybody. Anyway, just want to ask you one more question. What do you have for pre-match meal? I said, what's pre-match meal? He went, what does your mum make you? I went, beans on toast. I went, right, you'll get the best beans on toast. I'll see you in the Holiday Inn at 1 o'clock. So he said, don't tell anybody. So I didn't have a blazer, I didn't have a coat. I had me jumper, my Newcastle jumper, my long blonde hair. It was soaking wet, absolutely pittling down. I had my father's tie that he used to wear for funerals, my school pants on, and I had my boots and a Presto carrier bag. I got the bus and the metro that cost 5p, and I got to the Holiday Inn. And then he just went, don't tell anybody that you're playing. And I was like, 1:45, I got to the ground. I had me stuff on, me kit, shin pads, Raljecks, everything, the whole 9 yards, waiting. I'm looking around the dressing room. Chris Waddle, England national, he's not getting changed. Peter Beardsley, England national, 2 World Cups, he's not getting changed. Glenn Roeder, captain of the club, he's not getting changed. Jeff Clark, player of the year, he's not getting changed. John Anderson, era, Republic of Ireland international, not getting changed. Dave McCreary, 2 FA Cups, 2 World Cups, he's not getting changed. And I'm thinking, is this a Jeremy Beadle wind-up? And then 2:15, Jack come in with his vest and his underpants on. He went at Neil MacDonald, one of our midfield players. He used to play right back. He went, right, you're not playing. Back in the day, there was only 12 could play, and Jack had named 13. And not one of them wanted to show the hand to say that what one was left out. And I played 86 minutes that day, and he pulled us off, and he said, you're great, you're brilliant. And his cousin, Jackie Milburn, gave us a 9 out of 10 in the News of the World. He was a correspondent in the News of the World. And on Monday, I got 9 out of 10 the Journal, 8 out of 10 off that John Gibson. What a lovely man. And the Chronicle. And the Northern Echo gave us 9 out of 10 by Frank Johnson was his name anyway. Great broadcaster. So I went in his office on the Tuesday thinking, get in. I must have been good. I never played again for 9 months.
Pulling that number 9 shirt on, no, Joe. We're getting loads of positive comments. People saying that you're great, that your impressions are great. A lot of people saying they've been to events and seen you. Love to see you, yes, and listen to your stories. Pulling that number 9 shirt on, mate. It doesn't matter whether you did it once or 100 times. It must have been a special occasion, mate.
Well, I would have given up my career, Steve, after just doing it once and scoring in it. And it really, you know, you got Mr. Milburn, you've got Super Mac, you've got Peter Beardsley, you've got Pop Robson, you've got Wyn Davis, you've got Cole, Shearer, Waddle, you've got like Mirror, Martins, you've got, you know, Cece, just to name a few. And what rankles us at the minute is, and I hate having to go at footballers. I hate having to go at the players. It's not their fault. But we got one that's 40 million. He's on 100 grand a week. If he had 6 shots at GRU, he'd still be alive today. And we've got the other two who everybody likes. They all like him, and then they're good on the eye. Almiron, he works hard. He runs his nuts off. And Maximum, St. Maximum, he's a pony. You know, he's got a trick. But what I need to see is an end product, because there's 52,000 get in every game, and basically they've scored less than 10 goals between a lot of them. And there's 52,000 people there that have been waiting for a trophy since 1968. And it's not good enough. It really isn't good enough. So I want to go not to the players. I want to know where the recruitment, who's doing the recruitment. It's because it's absolute shambolic, you know. Mm-hmm. And the salaries that they're on are unreal. And like I say, no end product. And at the end of the day, you need somebody. Newcastle United fans always had somebody to hang the hat on, whereas them players that I just mentioned, right? But they always had to have a player to hang the hat on, and it's not good enough for the supporters.
You've brought a bit of silverware to the club yourself. 1985 FA Youth Cup with that young lad who you mentioned a little bit earlier, Gaza, Paul Gascoigne. Tell us a little bit about that FA Youth Cup run, and tell us a few stories about Gaza.
Well, the thing is, we were just two good players in a very, very good side. And the lads that played, I think the majority, I think 9 out of 12 went on to play in first team football, which is unheard of. That's why I have a go at the Man United lot, because they think they're so. But we couldn't afford to keep the lads that we had. And Paul obviously got sold to Tottenham. And you go up and down like a bride's nightie. You know, you think like, when I signed for Hartlepool, obviously I'd went to Swansea and I had a great time at Swansea. And I scored 7 in 7 games. And it was consecutive games. And I broke Ivor Allchurch's record. And I come back because my mother was bad, and I went to Hartlepool, and we got beat my first 3 games. We got beat 6-0, 8-1, and 6-1. And Bob Moncur and Pop Robson were in charge, and Bob went, "Don't worry, in 18 months, you'll be top scorer in the league, and you'll be getting a move to a top flight club." It wasn't a Premier League club in them days; it was a first division club, but it was still top flight. And he says, "There'll be a statue named out the ground." So I went, "Bob, where are you getting your drugs from?" Anyway, 18 months later, I scored 35 and 46, and I had, I moved to Chelsea. They didn't do the statue. I was devastated. But they did bestow the best thing probably that happened. They named the street after us, which I just wish my mother had been alive to see that.
Yeah, no, fantastic, Joe Allon. Honestly, you did so much in your career. Not many people have as many years in that career as you. Gaza, though, mate. Honestly,
talking about the FA Youth Cup. I'll try and cheer it up a bit, because he was instrumental. He went from being the ugly duckling to being a swan, a most beautiful swan. That's the best way I can say it. And I scored in every game apart from 1, and we both got 2 in the final. And he was majestic, absolutely unbelievable, by the way. And we're coming back, and I said, I says, hey, because I had a car. I says, I'm taking you for pizza. What do you want? He went, bolognese. I says, bolognese. He went, aye. I says, you want to cut it into 4? Do you want to cut it into 8? He went, cut it in 4, Joe. I'll never be able to eat 8. It's like, you know, he was just a phenomenal sense of humour and everything that he did. And we played for England together in a young team. And we're in Dublin. We're going to be 1-0. But it was a 2 o'clock kickoff, so we went to the nightclub. And he had a Bloody Mary. I had a lager top. He had a Bloody Mary. I had a lager top. He had a couple of Bloody Marys. I had a lager top. By 10 o'clock, we'd missed the curfew and we were bollocksed. At which point, I looked over and I saw a guy coming in that was playing in a snooker game. I went, Paul, Gaza, Paul. Because I always used to call him Paul when I wanted his attention. I says, there's Jimmy White, the Hurricane. That's him, the Whirlwind Hurricane. And no, it's Jimmy White. It's Jimmy White, the Whirlwind, not the Hurricane. It's not. He went, piss off. I says, look, it's the Whirlwind, Jimmy White. He looked at me and he went, Jimmy, 180.
Classic, absolute classic. But what a player, mind you. What a player. As you say, went from an ugly duckling to a swan.
Well, in 1990, you asked Ruud Gullit and Lothar Matthäus who the best player in the world was. Because in Italia 90, he absolutely took them to the ground. He was amazing. He was fantastic. And even these tears and the stuff like that is just like, he was phenomenal. He was just phenomenal, that's all. He was the greatest in the world in 1990.
Now, Joe, I've worked with you for many years at different events. You gave us me first starts, really, as somebody who goes out and does talk-ins. You showed us the ropes, and we still work together from time to time. But like me, you get a bit of stick off Mackems.
Well, I hate Sunderland. I mean, you got to understand, Steve, that my father's a Sunderland supporter. My 2 brothers were Sunderland supporters, and I was the black and white sheep of the family because I was playing the Newcastle training since I was 9, and then I was signed at 14, and I made my debut at 17, the first team, and I used to get death threats, hate threats, because put it this way, I went to the Sunderland Player of the Year do the other night from the North East Football Awards, right? I went to the Sunderland Player of the Year do, and it was a rollover. I mean, police are still investigating after the last match at the Stadium of Light whether the pound coin that was thrown on the pitch was a missile or a genuine takeover bid. And I remember me and Lee Clark were watching Newcastle play against Sunderland. We come back together in the car. We went through a place called Pennywell, a really nice place it is. And there was the wheelie bins are on bricks, and there was a white blanket over the house, and it said "Happy 30th birthday, Nana." And I mean, I did have a little bit of love down there because I met a girl from Hendon, right? She was a really, really nice girl. I hate slagging women off. I hate it. But I took her out to the best restaurant in Sunderland. It was called Marcello's. And it was an Italian restaurant. And I gave her the menu. I said, have what you want. Passed her the menu. She went, yeah, I think I'll have the Pagione. I says, that's page 1, pet. But, you've got to redress it because it was a terrible time, 9/11, which is not laughable about, but 9/11, the 2 lads from Sunderland did go out and help. They had the flasks and the haversacks, and they went out. And at the time, the then president was none other than George Bush. And they got out there in 9/11 with the Twin Towers, and it was awful. It was disastrous. And George Bush said, "Hi guys, I'd like to thank you very much for coming over here in our time of need. Where are you guys from?" And the lad went, "Pennywell." He said, "Pennywell? He said, what state's that in? He says, but the fucking same as this.
Brilliant, mate. I love it. I absolutely love it. Great stuff. You'll have won a few Sunderland fans over with them stories, mate.
I'm sure they'll tune in.
You, the Freddie Shepherd as well. I mean, you've got a story about that. I mean, there was that horrendous occasion where the News of the World did the sting on them.
Yeah, you have got to redress the balance sometimes. And I don't know if the Newcastle supporters know about it, but the late, great Freddie Shepherd, who actually, he obviously sacked Bobby Robson, Sir Bobby Robson, but his best mate was Douglas Hall, who was the son of Sir John Hall. And they got caught out, and Douglas come on the thing. I think it was in Saudi Arabia, or it could have been somewhere like that, or somewhere around there, Doha or whatever. And he went, all Newcastle United supporters idiots, because they're buying shirts for 45 quid that we get for a fiver from Thailand. Then he said our 209 goal England striker, England captain, record signing £50 million, Alan Shearer, he likened him to Mary Poppins. Then he did the worst thing he could ever do. He said all North East women were dogs. Now, my missus was furious. She jumped on the couch. I said, you'll have to get off there. You're not allowed on the couch.
Great stuff, Joe. You're certainly cheering everybody up. A lot of people saying this makes a lot better viewing than talking about the takeover. We've managed to get 40 minutes in without mentioning it. So Tommy McLeod says, top man, Joe, you're as raj as a brush. Keith Roll's got a question for you. He says, yeah. Joe, would you have ever played for Sunderland if you'd had the chance?
Turned them down 3 times, my friend. 3 times I turned them down. I remember there was one year the Sunderland were in I think about the 2nd or 3rd division, something like that. And Dennis Smith rang me at my mother and father's home, and he went, right, 300 quid a week, £1,000 signing on fee. If you're not here by 11 o'clock, forget about it. And I went, that is the best offer I've ever had in my life, because I'm definitely not moving my arse, because I will never. Can you imagine if you played in the black and white number 9 and you're playing in front of the Funderland? And some of my friends, I mean, I used to go to some of the Sunderland games with my friends, you know, and with my father when I was young, because it was heard of in them days. But imagine my first miss at the Funderland. It would have been you useless black and white. But I wouldn't have played for Sunderland if they, honestly. I never got beat off them at any time in my career, and it's like it's one of them where you don't cross that line. And I love Lee Clark, but he says a great thing, and he says, I says to him, what was the reason? He says, well, they made me a millionaire. I went, that's not a bad reason, to be fair.
Anonymous one says it's never too late to play for Sunderland, even if you're at the end of your career. Barry Hogan says Chris Waddle did it. A lot of people did, of course. Mark Fleming says, I bought a Sunderland yo-yo yesterday. The bugger doesn't come back up. Jeff Willick says, bloody marvellous patter, a great watch. Thank you, Joe and Steve. Chris says, should the number 9 be taken off Joe Linton's back, Joe, until he gets back into some kind of form?
Well, I don't think he's a number 9. I think when he played for Hoffenheim, he played a lot of his time on the wing. And I think he got 6 goals in 26 games, which isn't a 40 million player for me. So maybe they should have a look and reschedule, you know, after this thing happens, probably change shirts, because he's not a number 9. You just think of the players I just mentioned before, the Milburns, the Shearers, the Ferdinands, the Bearsies, the Waddles, and etc. Malcolm McDonald, man, the hairs on the back of my neck still stand up when I see him, and he's my friend. But you can imagine that it's not a fitting thing for the number 9 shirt to be worn. And I cost not a penny, and to play just a few times, a dozen times, and score a couple of goals, and the number 9 shirt was like, it would have been, if that was the enemy key, it would have been all right.
Yeah, a lot of people think that, we always end up on this show going down the Joe Linton road. I try not to mention him too many times, but yeah, I think you're right. He's not a number 9 at all, mate. And I think it's hard enough having a £40 million price tag on your head, and trying to settle into a new country without being given the number 9 shirt with all its history at the club. Anybody's got any questions for Joe for the last 20 minutes? Fire them over. Joe's not one to shy away from questions, and please give it a like, click the thumbs up, give it a share, and if you're a new viewer to the page, please subscribe. Please come back. We hit 31,500 subscribers today, which is excellent. So thanks very much to everybody who's tuned in and supported us through the lockdown. Who would your striker be, says Tim Cairns, I think. Who would you like to see maybe join the club? There's been a lot of players linked, Joe. There's been, the lads from Bournemouth, Callum Wilson, of course. I've seen Ben Tekier linked from Crystal Palace. Of course, another striker, Zaha, who I think will be, completely out of our pay remit at the minute. But is there a particular striker you would like to see come to the club?
Well, the lad from Bournemouth's a good player, but his goals for games record's not good. He's useful, and then you've got Ben Tekier, who's hot and cold. I agree with you about Zaha. He's a wonderful player, but he's not a 9, but he's also going to be 50, 60 million. You've got to have, like, Chelsea got lucky when they got Giroud, because he's still, at his age, after he left the Arsenal, he was still very, very effective. And one of the, I don't know, he comes strong for Chelsea to get them into the Champions League at the end of the season. You've got to, this is what I'm on about, as regarding people that go out there and they're looking for players. Like, you don't have to look too hard to spend 40 million for a player. Do your homework, your recruitment, do your homework. You don't have to spend £80 million for less than 10 goals between 3 of them. That's not right, man. Get Peter Beasley back.
Yeah, obviously. He could still do it. He could still do a job, mate. He could still do a job.
Well,
you've got a couple of you've got a Peter Beasley one, haven't you? Go into that, mate. People are enjoying the funnies.
Well, no, because Pedro, people ask me all the time, who's the best player I ever played with? And obviously it was Paul Gascoigne, but the best forward I ever played with was Peter Beasley. He was an absolute magician. It was a dream. He was unplayable. He's just like training with him every day. Like I said, I had Keegan, Gascoigne, Beasley, Waddle, McDermott, and Beasley, and I might not have played all them games, but I was at the club for such a long time. I used to train with them every day, and I got a great grounding to get us back to me great spell I had at Swansea, me lovely time with the beautiful, fantastic people at Hartlepool, and to go to Chelsea, then to be record signing at Brentford. So Peter Beasley for me was the greatest forward I ever played with, and I spoke to him the other week, and I just said, Pedro, you've had a little bit trouble with this stuff that's been going on, and obviously he got banned, and he went. I says, how are you doing? Well, obviously it's been a little bit tough at the moment, Joe. I said, but I've been talking to Brucey, because I played at Wolves End Boys Club with him. He says, don't worry, he says, in January we're going to get some new faces. I just hope I get one.
Oh, God. It's a classic. Yeah, the impressions keep coming. He is.
He's a legend.
Mark Rowley says, what's the most memorable goal you've scored, Joe?
Well, the first one, the number 9 shirt against Coventry City in the Leazes End, when I scored from about 25 yards, I think, and everybody thought, oh my God, he's a hell of a player. And the rest of me 212 goals I think I scored were all inside that 25 yards. Because I was a muncher, I was a poacher, I was a sniffer. I was like one of them where I wouldn't score the spectacular ones, but like I said just before, greatest player that I played up front with most of the majority of my games that I played with at Newcastle was with Peter Beardsley, and he was a genius. And we weren't blessed with the best of looks or height, but at the end of the day, we knew where the ball was, we knew where the net was, and we knew how to play with each other and complement each other. And I just wish Chris Waddle had been injured for a lot longer.
Barry Hogan says, any Bobby Moncur stories when you played for him?
Yeah, I mean, he's a gaffer as well, Bob. And I said to you, when I was playing for Swansea, I broke my ankle, and he come in, and there was a player called Tommy Hutchinson. I don't know if you can remember him. He was like number 2 to Terry Yorath, who played for Leeds with a gaffer with Big Jack. And Bob come. It was a reserve game on a Thursday afternoon in a place called Morpher Stadium, which actually where the Liberty Stadium's built now. And it was piddling down, and I was, oh God, I had a monkey on my back. I was like, geez, I didn't want it. And I'm trying to get fit and trying to get back in the team and that. And Tommy Hutchinson said, there's a bloke in the corridor wants to have a chat with you. And I went, all right, whatever. He went, that's Bob Moncur. He's from Newcastle. He's just got the manager's job at Hartlepool. So I went in the corridor, and obviously he's a legend. So I was like, God, it's Bob Moncur. First cup winner, 3 goals, 2 in one leg, 1 in the other. And I thought, what are you doing? He went, I want you to come and play for us. And I went, where at? He went, Hartlepool. I went, what? Hartlepool? I said, you're having a laugh, aren't you? The second bottom of the 4th division. And he went, no, you'll be all right. Pop Robson's coach. You'll be all right. Just come for a month. I know about your mother's illness and that, but you just come for a month. So I went, you got no chance. Anyway, he said, jump in the car, I'll give you a lift home. I jumped in the car. He kidnapped us. He didn't let us out till Bromsgrove. He said, I'll give you something to eat now. We'll have a steak. And I went, I've got no clothes. I had my toilet bag. I was still in my kit. And he went, you'll be okay. You'll be okay. Trust me. And he drove us all the way back, and I fell asleep. Next thing, I'm getting out of my parents' house in Washington. And all of a sudden, it was like unbelievable. The next day I went in, I'm the only person in the history of Hartlepool United at that time to get a sponsored car. And it was off 2 of me very, very good mates, John Breward, and I'm not being funny, one of the funniest men ever in the game, John Breward. Absolutely fantastic. And there was Nissan Micra, 20 years old, whose mate had a garage around the corner, and he went on holiday, and he went, there's your sponsored car. 20 years old. Nissan Micra. I went, where's my name on the car? He went, oh, he says, he was commercial manager. Oh man, unbelievable.
I was going to say there was one character you talk about him fondly from Hartlepool. Tell us the story about the guy who somebody encountered, shall we say?
Yeah, well, I mean, he was one of the, like, people say to me, like, you've played with Gascoigne, Beasley, Waddle, Keegan, McDermott, Andy Townsend, Vinnie Jones, Dennis Wise, Boo. You know, the lads at Brentford, all the good players I've played with, and all the other clubs, and they're the fantastic players. And they said, who's the biggest character that you've ever had? And I says, oh, it's easy, that. This is called Stan Hillhouse. And they went, Stan Hillhouse? I said, let's paint you a picture of Stan Hillhouse. I said, he used to wear the club suit, the club tie, the club shirt with his gravy stains down his top. And he used to have, like, the club pants on, which used to be stained a bit, but there you go. But he was twin-towned with Mussolini and Adolf Hitler. Because if you didn't have a ticket, when he was on that ticket office, you weren't getting in. So one day my father used to watch us every game, my brothers, and he come in, he went, all right, Mr. Allon, how you doing? He says, Joe's not doing well at the minute. He's on 35 goals at the minute. He's doing really, really good, isn't he? There's your tickets, usual seats. There you go. Enjoy the game. Lovely to see you. My dad went, and there was a big blonde lad in behind him. And the blonde lad said, my dad looked back. He went, he says, hi. He says, I'm a guest of the Sunderland Board of Directors. I'm in the lounge and director's box. And Stan went, director's box? He says, it's Hartlepool, not Liverpool. He says, we haven't got a director's box. He says, you'll have to, honestly, you'll have to go and just in there. He went, no, he says, I'm guest of Bob Murray, Sunderland Board. He owns Sunderland Football Club, Bob Murray. He went, mate, he says, you'll have to go around the back of the rink end and past the pub and then go past the rink, the ground stadium, and it'll cost you £12 to get in. He said, I don't think you realise, he says, I'm the Olympic champion, 1,500 metres, and I'm the world record holder for the mile. My name's Steve Cram. He went, well, it'll not take you long to fucking run round then, will it? Just that.
Joe, time's running out, mate, and I've got a couple of questions. Somebody's asking about, a lot of people asking about Vinnie Jones. Any stories about Vinnie Jones, who you used to room with at Chelsea? Any you can tell?
Well, the thing is, I lived with Vin for 9 years, and he's obviously had a very, very tough time with it. And he lost his missus, and I speak to his sister. I don't know where he's at the minute. I know he's living in Palm Springs, but I don't know where he's at in his head. But to lose Tanya was like my mother, and I'm on about weddings and living together with him, and like he's such the nicest guy in the world, you know, and like so kind, and everybody thinks he's a nutter. But when I was on down and I had me divorce, I got a phone call, and it was Joe, I've got a ticket at Newcastle Airport for you to come here to LAX. You're staying with me for a month. Get your head up. So I got the flight from Newcastle to Heathrow to LAX, and I got there. We both had black T-shirts on, a white and a pair of jeans, a white vest. And he went, oh, you won't believe this. He says, we've got $1,500 for a month to stay in a place. I'm working on a movie with Nicolas Cage. It's called Gone in 60 Seconds. I went, all right. He went, we need to go and view something in the Hollywood Hills. So we went there, and Elton John's house was on that way. Shirley Bassey's was this way. Tom Jones's was that way. And we're there in the middle, and I went, Vin, I says, this is magnificent. I says, you can't get any better than this. He went, 900. That means we've got 600 to go on the piss with. 600. I went, oh God, it sounds good. Anyway, we're in the kitchen, we're having a beer, and I went, Vin, I says, the guy, he's got the whites on, you know, they wear the white hat and the white uniform, and he was cleaning the pool. And I went, we've got to get him in, pal. I says, it's 86 degrees. I says, we've got to get him in, give him some lemonade and a sandwich. And yeah, you're right, son, you're right. Go and get him. So I went down, I says, please, I says, could you come in and just like, because it's too hot. I says, you clean the pool. I says, it's like, come on. So he come in. Vin went, hello, mate. Don't you be like that and stay out there in the heat. He says, the key's under the mat there. He says, you come in whenever you want. You have lemonade, you have a drink, you have salmon, you have anything you want. Your house is my house. He says, by the way, his name's Joe Allon. He's a soccer player. I went, fucking soccer player? I've been retired fucking 8 years. He went, my name's Vinnie Jones and I'm an actor. And I looked at him again, I went, you've only had one film. And the guy went, he said, my name's Bill Withers and I own the house. And it was Bill Withers that looked at you. And I looked on the walls, and it had all the gold records. Bill Withers, lovely day, lovely day, lovely day. And
oh my
he was
God.
the nicest guy. He was the nicest guy I have ever met in my life, honestly. He's just absolute. And Vin finished it off. He went, fuck, you know, mate. He says, I thought he did well when he was in the Rolling Stones. I says, that was Bill Wyman, not Bill Withers. It was a lovely day.
It's a lovely day, brilliant. You did mention Elton John there. You did have a brief encounter with Elton John, but not what people will be thinking.
Yeah, well, it wasn't so much me. It was Paul. It was Gaza, and we won the Youth Cup. And to be honest, he's an absolute gentleman. And it was 4-1. The gaffer, Jack, didn't like him coming into the bath because of his reputation, whatever. At which point, Gaza stood up because we used to have a communal bath in them days. And we won the Youth Cup, and we're drinking the so-called champagne that the gaffer bought. It was Pomeranian. And anyway, we were celebrating. It was nice. And Gaza stood up and went, Elton, give us a song. Elton, give us a song. And I said, Paul, sit down. He's not looking at your eyes.
Jason Carter's chipped in. He says, how do you make a duck into a singer? You put it into the microwave until it's Bill Withers.
Hey! Good one.
Well, Joe, honestly,
I'll do the comedy.
You do the comedy. Joe, we've hit an hour, mate, and I don't want to spoil it. I want to get you back on next week. I know that there's a lot of people saying we should get you on next week. It's been a welcome. Once we got you in and past the technology, it's been a welcome distraction from the takeover, which I knew it would be. So brilliant to have you on, and look forward to getting you on maybe next Wednesday as well, mate. You take care, and I'll speak to you soon, pal.
God bless them. The thing is, as well, remember that we don't know the production's going to be a stage show or whether it's going to be.
Oh, yes.
I don't know.
Go over it. No, I forgot about that. Let's go over it. Joe Allon once just wanted to say something. It's important. There's no details yet, but obviously right at the start of the interview, a lot of people could hear him doing the Jack Charlton one. So those of you tuning in late, you probably missed it. So you just want to give them a quick burst of Jack Charlton first of all, Joe, and then I'll tell people what you're up to.
Well, I'll just have the stand at the start because the production that I've wrote, and it's all ready now. But obviously, we don't know whether it's going to be a stage show or whether it's going to be a play or what have you. But it's all done. Yeah. It's all done at this end. And there's a lot of very, very famous people that have said that they want to get involved in it. And I don't want to just say the names just yet, but we'll do that next week, whatever. But the gaffer, he used to say, like to me, he used to say, you know, you've got to work hard. And I know you've got the devil in you. You've got like the devil in you, like me. And I like that. He said, but me and our kid, we used to practice and play against the wall and in the garden and on the green. And then me mother'd say, your dinners are on the table. And I was a big lad. I was about 6'4" in them days, but our Bob would just stay out and he'd practice, and I would go in because I needed feeding, so I went in, and then it was a terrible thing in 1958 when there was this terrible disaster in Munich, and me and my mother are sitting there watching the TV, and we didn't even know whether our Bob was alive or not. Our Bob lost a lot of his friends. I don't want to say the names because I don't want to be disrespectful. Matt Busby was in hospital for a long time, and the Busby Babes. And then we saw our Bob coming off the plane, and he had this blanket over him. And me and my mother started crying, and it was our kid. He was okay. And then they had to start again, the Busby Babes, and it took them till about 1962, and they signed a couple of players. They weren't bad. One was called Dennis Law, and the other one's called George Best. And then it was phenomenal because they went to the 1968 European Cup final, and there was this lad playing for Benfica. He was called Eusebio, and he was supposed to be the best player in the world, but he wasn't. Our kid was the best player in the world, and he scored 2. And Manchester United won, and our Bob lifted the European Cup as captain. And it made us very proud. I'll leave it with that one.
Joe, I've got to be honest. People are captivated. A lot of positive, a lot of positive feedback. A lot of people thoroughly enjoying it. And the gist of it is Joe has been busy producing a stage play about Jack Charlton, and he's been writing it. He's been producing it. He's pulling in a fantastic team. And once we get back to some kind of normality in 2021, Joe's looking to take that out and put it on at various venues. So he's got permission of the family, and it's great to hear. A lot of people just saying they've really enjoyed it. Ian Barron, big shout out to you, mate. Happy 46th birthday. And he's a Darlington fan. We won't hold it against him. Good luck to Darlington. They've done very well to recover from the position that they've ended up in. Successive promotions after such a horrendous relegation. Swag Dog says, could listen to Joe's crack all night. George Green says, top class lads. George McVeigh says, you've made my night. Great show. Tommy McLeod just says, wow. Best podcast for a while, says Davey Eddy. Magic. Lots of people really appreciating the effort. So yes, we will get Joe back on next Wednesday, and we'll I'm sure we'll really enjoy watching how this play progresses. Joe, it's a great tribute to the gaffer.
Definitely, and thank everybody for the good wishes, and also we've got loads more material. God, wait till I start talking about people like Alan Shoulder, what he got up to when he was younger. Oh my God.
Fantastic.
No, it's been an absolute. It's nice for me to be absolutely honest. I mean, like I said, the shutdown hurts our industry more than anything. Since I finished playing football, and to just get out and just talk to people and to have people saying nice things like that, I really, really appreciate it. So I thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, Jason Carter says, brilliant. That hour went too quickly. Joe McClellan said the same. Cracking stories, was thoroughly entertained, says Anonymous One. Keith Roll says, brilliant show. Joe is always hilarious. Chris Cossey says, thanks, Steve and Joe. Really good show. And we've got Tommy McLeod saying, thanks very much again, Steve. How do you better that? And Toon Joe says, local hero. We'll finish with Christopher's comment. He just says, Joe, you are an absolute legend. Joe Allen, absolute pleasure to have you on, mate.
Very kind, so much. Thank you. Thanks to everybody. Thank you.
Take care, mate. See you next week. That's great. Back tomorrow with Supermac and Gibbo at 6 o'clock. See you then.